All right, how's it going? Gonna start today. I figured we'll make a YouTube video as I'm driving, stuck in traffic, barely going anywhere. Figured we'd talk today about staying healthy after 50 or 40 if you're there, because to be healthy at 40 means that you're going to be healthy at 50. So you got to start somewhere, and I say the earlier you start, the healthier you're going to be when you get older, right? So what do we need to do once we're 50? Well, let me tell you, once you turn 30, your muscles start to atrophy, which means that they just kind of start getting smaller. They're not as big as they were the year before. So every year, I think it's like about 30% body muscle mass we lose if we're not doing anything to maintain that muscle mass. And that's one of the problems that so many Americans have, or even just anybody over 30, really anybody over 18 that gets out of high school and stops working out, going to gym class, being in an activity, in a sport. You're no longer doing anything to maintain that muscle mass. And then once you get to 30, that muscle mass starts to atrophy and you get weaker and weaker. And the problem is that you don't necessarily really notice it until, say, you're about 60 or 70 and you start having difficulty walking up and down stairs. You have difficulty getting in and out of the chair. You have difficulty getting in and out of bed. And then before you know it, you stop doing things because you're like, oh, it's so hard to go up and down those stairs. I'm just going to stay on this main level. I'm going to put my bedroom on the main level. I'm not going to go up and down the stairs anymore. And then before you know it, you can't go up and down stairs anymore. So I'm here to talk about what we can do to keep that from happening. And one of the best things to do is actually exercise. But more importantly, we need to continue to lift weights. And if you have never lifted weights, then you need to start. Because the only thing, well, it's not the only thing, but one of the biggest things that really helps maintain muscle mass is lifting weights, doing some kind of strength training. You can do some jumping, but at 30, 40, jumping is not my favorite thing to do. So I prefer to just lift weights. You can start anywhere. You can actually start without even having weights. You can start by doing some squats, some planks. You can do push-ups. There's a lot of things that you can do to lift weights without truly lifting weights. So the biggest thing to do is get started. You can't just put it off for another day, because the longer you put it off, the older you get and the more your muscles atrophy. And the more your muscles atrophy, the weaker that you get. And then that is really when we start having difficulty doing the things that we normally do every day, that when you're like, yeah, when I was 30, I used to be able to do that, and now I'm 50, and not so much. I really want to lift my granddaughter or my grandson, but I'm just a little too weak. I just don't have enough strength to really do that. So this is where you do things to prevent that from happening. And here, let's say I got to try to figure out where I'm going to cut in so that I'm not making anybody mad in traffic. I guess I made that person mad. Is he going to blow your horn at that person too? Traffic, right? We all have to learn to be a little bit nicer, because everybody wants to cut in line every once in a while. And getting mad at people doesn't change it. It just creates stress in our life. So anyway, back to lifting weights. So if you have never lifted weights, starting with just body weight exercises is a great place to start. If you think about it, however much you weigh, if you're doing body weights, you're lifting that amount. So if you weigh 150, 200, 250, 300 pounds, and you're going up and down with your muscles, that's a lot of weight. So you don't really necessarily need to add any weight until you get strong enough to do that. So when we're talking about our legs, which are very important, you know, you've got to have muscle strength in your quadriceps, that's the front of your legs, for getting in and out of a chair, going up and down the stairs, you know, even getting in and out of bed, or maybe even getting up off the floor if you happen to trip and fall, and then now you need to get up off the floor. You need to have those muscle strengths, those muscles strong, so that they can allow you to get up unassisted. So one of the things that you can do to start off, if you're new, do squats down to a chair or a bench. You know, a bench is great because a bench is usually a little bit lower than a chair, but just going back and down. And when you go down, you're just going to go down far enough that you kind of feel the chair on the back of your legs, but not sitting down all the way, because you want to fire those muscles. The other thing that you can do is you can do wall squats, where you actually, you know, put your back up against the wall, you put your feet out a little bit farther, and then you just squat down until you're in a seated position that puts a little bit of stress on those muscles. If you've never done those before, you want to be careful that you're not going down so far that you can't get back up off the wall. Usually that's not too bad, because you can always use your hands to shimmy up the wall. So now, those are some really good exercises to start out with for your legs. Another thing that you can do are simple lunges, where you put your leg back and you lunge down as if you were going to maybe pick up something on the ground, making sure that both of your knees go to a 40-degree angle. Is it a 40-degree angle? 90-degree angle. And then just come right back up. And you can just do that single-legged up and down. You can do walking lunges. You can do lunges to the back. There's several different variations, but that's another leg exercises. So those are really the three main exercises that you could do. And then if you're wanting to work on your chest, you know, which then works on your back and your shoulders, you can do planks, and that's a great place to start, or progress eventually to doing push-ups. And if you need to do push-ups on your knees, which, you know, there's, you know, nothing wrong with doing push-ups on your knees, but push-ups actually work more